Emily Carter had exactly $3.42 in her bank account the night she almost gave up. Her 6-year-old son Lucas was asleep beside her on the couch, holding a stuffed dinosaur with one eye missing. The lights in the apartment flickered because the electricity bill hadn't been paid. Emily stared at her phone, refreshing her bank app again and again, hoping the number would somehow change. It didn't. And the worst part? Tomorrow morning the landlord was coming. Not for rent. For eviction. Before we go further, take a second and hit the like button if you believe no mother should have to face the world alone. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Emily never imagined her life would end up like this. 5 years earlier things were different. She lived in a small apartment in Cleveland, worked as a receptionist at a local clinic, and believed she was building a normal life. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable. She had a job. She had a baby boy who laughed at everything. And she had hope. Then Lucas's father left. No warning. No explanation. One day he was there and the next he was gone. Emily suddenly found herself raising a child alone, working longer hours just to keep the lights on. Every morning she woke up at 5:30. She'd quietly make peanut butter sandwiches, pack Lucas's tiny backpack, and drop him off at daycare before rushing to work. Then one winter afternoon the clinic closed without warning. Budget cuts. 30 employees lost their jobs that day. Emily was one of them. At first she tried to stay calm. She told herself it would only take a few weeks to find something else. But weeks turned into months. Bills piled up on the kitchen counter like a stack of bad news. Rent. Electricity. Phone. Groceries. Every time the mailbox opened, her stomach twisted. She applied everywhere. Restaurants. Stores. Offices. But every interview ended the same way. "We'll call you." They never did. One evening Lucas asked a question that shattered her heart. "Mom, why do you look sad all the time?" Emily forced a smile and kissed his forehead. "I'm just tired, baby." But the truth was she wasn't just tired. She was scared. Really scared. Then the landlord knocked. 3 loud knocks that echoed through the apartment. Emily already knew what it meant. She opened the door slowly. He handed her a notice. 2 months behind on rent. 7 days to pay. Or leave. That night, after Lucas fell asleep, Emily sat on the bathroom floor and cried as quietly as she could. She cried because she felt like she had failed. Failed as a provider. Failed as a mother. But the next morning, Lucas ran up and hugged her with sleepy eyes. "Good morning, Mom." And somehow that tiny hug gave her just enough strength to keep going. If you've ever gone through a moment where life felt impossible, comment, "Keep going" below. You never know who might need to read it today. A week later, Emily packed everything they owned into her old car. 2 suitcases, a box of toys, and Lucas's dinosaur. They stayed with a friend for a few nights, but that couldn't last forever. Emily began working anywhere that would pay her. Cleaning offices at night. Delivering groceries during the day. Helping stock shelves at a small store in the evening. Sometimes she worked 3 different jobs in one day. She barely slept. But she always made sure Lucas had dinner and a bedtime story. Even if that story was told from the front seat of a parked car. One afternoon, while delivering groceries, Emily met someone who would quietly change her life. An older woman named Mrs. Thompson. Mrs. Thompson noticed Lucas sitting patiently in the back seat. "He's a good boy," she said. Emily smiled weakly. "He deserves better." Mrs. Thompson studied Emily for a moment. "Why don't you go back to school?" Emily laughed nervously. She could barely afford gas. But Mrs. Thompson insisted there were programs that helped single parents train for better jobs. Emily almost ignored the idea. Almost. But that night, while Lucas slept beside her, she searched online using free Wi-Fi from a coffee shop parking lot. And she found it. A 1-year training program for medical billing. It was exhausting just thinking about it. But Emily enrolled anyway. Her days became a blur of work and survival. Morning job. Afternoon deliveries. Night classes. Most nights she studied while Lucas colored pictures beside her. Sometimes she fell asleep over her laptop. Sometimes she wanted to quit. One evening Lucas handed her a piece of paper. It was a drawing of Emily wearing a cape. Above her was a stick figure monster labeled Bills. Emily looked confused. Lucas smiled proudly. "That's you, Mom. You beat the monsters." Emily turned away so he wouldn't see the tears in her eyes. Months passed. Slowly, painfully, she kept going. Then one afternoon her phone rang. A healthcare company had seen her certification. They wanted to interview her. Emily almost didn't believe it. The interview lasted 30 minutes. The waiting lasted 2 weeks. Those were the longest 2 weeks of her life. Then the phone rang again. They offered her a full-time remote position. Good salary. Health insurance. Stable hours. Emily slid down the kitchen wall and cried harder than she ever had before. But this time, they were tears of relief. Today Emily and Lucas live in a small apartment filled with sunlight. Lucas is doing well in school. And every night before bed he still says the same thing. "You're the best mom ever." Emily smiles every time she hears it. Because she remembers the nights when everything felt impossible. And she knows something now that she didn't know back then. Rock bottom doesn't always mean the end. Sometimes, it's the place where a better life finally begins. If this story moved you even a little, make sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might need a reminder today. Because somewhere out there tonight, another single mom is sitting in the dark, wondering if things will ever get better. And the truth is, sometimes they do.